What is up, guys? You're tuning into this Okiru podcast. I'm your co-host, Jasper, and we thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope you enjoy this episode. Make sure to follow us on our socials at okiru.apparel on Instagram, Okiru on Facebook, Okiru on YouTube, and also Okiru on major platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope you enjoy.
Okay.
What is up, guys? We are joined today by our boys Aaron and Roland. What is going on,
guys?
Man? What's been going on, man? Like, these past few months have been pretty tough on all of us. What you guys been up to?
Man. Like, for me, for the past 3 months, just like work, gym, setting up the house as well. We just moved in recently.
Nice.
So good, man. It's like freedom.
That's it, man.
Yeah, bro. What about you guys?
You know, we've been working our jobs and working on Okiru, like
killing it on Okiru.
Yeah, that's good, man.
I was saying before outside with Jasper, you guys have been like just pumping out content, and
that's it. We do our best, man. We're gonna be pumping out more now that you know.
That's good, man.
Gerald's married. Congratulations.
Congrats, bro.
nice.
But yeah, like even you, Roland, you've been killing it with Cali Skills, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks,
That's
man.
been doing so well.
Like, I've been trying my best because like we had literally, well, in my case, I had no excuse to be like not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because I had so much time in quarantine. Like it was just
Straight up.
work, and then going back to your place. And if you don't do anything, I feel like that's the times that those bad thoughts come in.
Exactly, man. You got to keep yourself busy.
Keep it busy and just like have a goal in mind, but like ultimately like having just something to do
Yeah.
every
Straight
day.
up.
How did you know what you're doing now is what you really want to do?
I was kind of I still am very indecisive with what I want to do at the moment.
Yeah, bro. You got to
I'm-
test the waters.
Yeah, because I'm trying out different things at the moment, but like I just do it because you know it's something that I do, something that I find myself doing when I'm not worrying about anything. It's like my almost like a comfort practice.
Yeah, straight up.
And so I was like, let me just see how I can monetize this. So I'm just putting myself out there as much as I can. However I can at the moment, and just trying to improve every day.
That's it.
Or like whatever, like, you know what I mean?
That's it.
I love the content that you're putting out there. Like I always actually watch your videos. I try to do the like your pull-ups and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh man, I'm weak. But
If you're really into it, you'll get to it.
That's true. That's true. So you both guys are really into fitness.
Yeah. So I've been into it I started going gym around 8 to 10 years ago, but it was like on and off. So it wasn't really serious. It's only been the past 2.5 years where I've been really serious. Like literally every week, like I go to the gym at least 4 days, like minimum. And I haven't skipped any week.
Damn.
Like I probably skipped one when I went to Phil's, but even then I was like scouring the Phil's for like a gym. Just to get in a workout. And then that's like, I've been reading this book called Atomic Habits. I really want to get into it, man. It connects to what I said. Anyway, it talks about how like, even like if you have like bad days, but you get to show up the next day, you're getting into that habit that you go do your thing. For example, for me, I go to the gym, even if it's like a shit workout. It makes you the type, according to the book, and I'm like, it really resonated with me as well. If you're the type of person that shows up to a habit, which is for me gym, then you become that person that goes into the gym, even if it's like a shit workout. You know what I mean? And it's just like with everything as well.
Make it automatic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not about like the I guess how you performed in that day. It's how you showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And that's what matters over time. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I like that idea of showing up, but there's also the idea of showing up and actually doing stuff.
Yes.
But at the same time, depending on where you're at on the spectrum, there's a spectrum of things, right? Showing up is good, But if you can show up and do better,
Yes.
that's the choice.
Yes.
But then also sometimes showing up is all what people need.
Yes.
Like sometimes you go through a really bad mindset. Like I've known people who it's hard for them to start a new habit, but you have to reassure them that showing up is just a big effort in itself.
Yep. You know what that book said as well that like really struck me as well was like successful people, like athletes and stuff, they experience the same type of failure that we do, that everyone else does. But the thing with them, is they can bounce back straight away. Whereas with people who really fail, they just stuck to that mindset that, oh, I failed, so I'm a failure for life. Because everyone experiences failure, man, once in their life, once or like many times as well. So it's just like the mindset of like, bouncing back, basically. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot to unpack here, but I want to get to this failure thing. Like, why do you think those people, like professional athletes, can make it bounce back so easily, but yet there's also some professional athletes who go through one big failure and can't even bounce back from that? What is the difference between those two mindsets of being able to bounce back quickly and allowing that failure to determine your life?
I think it's the motivation, right?
Yes, correct.
If you're driven by the right motivation or like the right why, then it just becomes, like you do it because you love doing it, not because of accolades.
Exactly.
I feel like if you do things for accolades, once you get there, you're like, you cap yourself.
Exactly.
It fades slowly.
And it fades slowly. So the more sustainable way to go about it is just, just do it. And be, detached.
Exactly.
Straight up.
So how do you think people can develop a strong why for themselves? Because definitely a why is important.
Yeah.
But also,
It's actually multifactorial. There's many things that comes into it. For example, having like a device, like a commitment device. Like we're actually doing it right now. Me, Roland, and my other mate, Robert. We're doing this breathing called Wim Hof Breathing, which is a form of meditation. And what we did was we made a Facebook group, and then basically if we miss a night, we have to pay each other $50.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Consequences.
Consequences. So that's called a commitment device. I guess like that's the difference between like successful people. They just need like something.
It gives you something
to push
to be
themselves.
accountable to.
Yeah.
So like even for me, like Gerald, we'll be accountable like together as well with our business. And also like with what I do with my mentors, like we have accountability like, every day. Like what have you read? What have you listened to? And then you'll have like accountabilities per week. Like I'm going to be guilty of not doing it because my time management is quite terrible, but it's all about my priority list, right? But if you keep yourself accountable, you can see the different changes you can have. I think it's what people lack apart from their whys and motivation is accountability as well. So it's a lot of things that, like you said, multifactual. And it's good that you boys were able to create that accountability for yourselves.
Exactly.
I think it also comes down to like discipline as well. Like what you were saying, like no matter what, you just got to show up because, you have that discipline. You got to tell yourself, no matter what, I'm feeling like crap today.
And you know what? Like everyone gets a spike of like motivation at one point, but motivation isn't enough to keep you long. It's about showing up when it's like really shitty or like on a bad day. I think it's all about that. That's what keeps you going. And it's all about like a change in mindset as well. Of like
definitely
going there, even if it's like shit or bad.
Yeah.
100%. Like, let's be honest, motivation is trash. Like you can't, it's not sustainable.
Like it's good to have it at the start.
It's like
that's
feelings.
That's what changes, like that's what sparks like a change in your behavior. But it's not enough to sustain you for long.
Yeah, that's it.
What is it? It's like the kindling.
Yeah, the kindling
exactly.
of a fire.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Exactly, man.
But yeah, it's not
Just get started.
And showing up and even on shit days is like adding wood into the fire.
Exactly.
Keep the fire going.
So what other books have you read apart from Atomic Habits?
For now, I just read Atomic Habits. I'm looking into, I actually started, do you guys know Jordan Peterson? 12 Rules for Life. I started that, but kind of struggling.
Yeah. No, there's definitely books. Like I would say I read a lot of books. That one I got like halfway through and I was like, my brain's just farting.
He did make a summary of it on YouTube, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, summaries are good, but like for me personally, I find sometimes you lose context of what's been said as well.
Exactly.
So it's good to, just for my personal preference, to listen to whole discussions and whole books.
Yeah.
So you can find where those reasonings can come from.
The thing for me, with reading books, I find it difficult to actually read it by itself. So what I did was I played an audiobook in the background and read it at the same time. That made me concentrate better on the book, because it's like reading it in the class, I guess, and it feels like you're reading it with someone. So it makes me like, that's for me anyway. That's what worked for me. So I'm trying to stick to that habit, I guess, of having something playing in the background while I'm reading it, like that audiobook of it.
Of course. Like we all had to find what works for us. For me, it was, I used to listen to like classical music.
Oh yeah, while reading a book.
Yeah, while reading a book. And
I actually do that sometimes when I lift weights as well, when
really?
I'm going heavy, like play classical music in the background.
Really? That's so different. Why classical music?
I don't know, it just keeps you in the zone and like concentrated when you're about to do that big lift. I actually got it from my mate Robert. Like he does that. I was like, oh yeah, I should try it out. I'm like,
That's cool,
this works.
Does that make it more stronger? You feel
I
that?
don't know, it just like puts you in the zone of like lifting it
I'm
up.
pretty sure there's studies behind it. It actually gives you more focus. I forgot the study.
Like that genre of music.
Yeah, that genre of music.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think it's something to do with the
Yeah, well, it does.
Something, man.
something to do with sounds.
Definitely works, man.
But yeah, I used to do that. But now I switched to ambient sounds, so like rain, like water.
Constant white noise.
Yeah, white noise. And then now I usually read in silence.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's one thing I've learned to do more of, is to be in silence.
For some reason, I thought you were saying you do that in the gym.
That's what I thought too. It's so epic, man. It's like rain sounds and then he's doing a bit.
See guys like anime style.
It's like your screams in his headphones, like.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you read aloud?
Sometimes, but like, no, I usually read in silence. Usually have a highlighter, and then after a few minutes, I'll try write what I've learned down. But it takes a lot of time, man. So recently I've just been listening to audiobooks, but I do want to get back into reading. But the last book I was reading, it was just so hard to read. It's called Mindset. It's a good book that people highly recommend.
By who?
By Gerald.
Oh yeah.
It talks a lot about the growth versus fixed mindset. It's an interesting book, but just for me, I just struggle to read it. So like I'm stopping and starting it all the time.
Where do you read it? When you
I
read
have
it?
an actual book. Like I buy physical
like
books.
the actual space that you're reading it, the environment.
So my room.
Okay.
Usually make sure like it's kind of light, just natural light as much as there is. If it's not, obviously just gonna make use of what you have. But try to make sure it's as silent as possible. But I guess that's also where you can practice your focus when there's distractions coming around. It's like, that's what I see meditation as well. Yeah. Try using it to bring yourself back to the moment. But yeah, like the books I've been reading recently is a lot. I think I would recommend to people depending on what your mindset is. For me, it was like a low self-image, low self-respect for myself. So like the books I would recommend for that is definitely The High Five Habit. That really changed my perspective on like just being a better person and like actually like having a relationship with yourself. Type of thing. But
Definitely, man.
What about you, Roland? Do you read any books or go into deep knowledge diving?
I do read aloud.
Oh, nice.
I try to read aloud every day. The book that I'm reading at the moment is called Stillness is the Key by
Ryan Holiday.
Yeah. Ryan Holiday. And that book's pretty good. Like it teaches you how to just be in the process of things.
Yeah, I've got the book, but I haven't started reading it.
Right.
Have you finished it?
I recommend it. Yeah, I've read it like twice already.
Oh, nice.
Because you know how I feel like to ingrain it into my subconscious, I have to just continuously do it until I'm like
Are you the type of person that has to like go back and
Yeah,
reading the book like so
yeah.
many times?
Yeah, because I forget so quickly, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'll like read a whole like
Yeah,
chapter, and
that's
then
me,
like,
man. Like, I'm like,
what did they say?
exactly.
Yeah.
But when I put that audiobook in the background, I'm actually concentrate. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a difference. And it talks about like, it comes down again to like the system that you use for your habit. For example, reading books for habit. As a habit, I play the audiobook in the background. Jasper stays in his room concentrated. So, yeah.
Just developing your own system that works.
Developing your own system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-
It's not about like the end goal of finishing the
Yeah,
book.
just
It's about
following
reading the
the
book
system.
and understanding it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like with everything in life, like gym, for me, yeah, I used to think, oh yeah, I'll reach this goal and then that's it. No, it's a long-term commitment that you owe your body. That's why, that's what I tell myself.
Like my
Like you owe your body every day.
yeah,
Something
for
like
sure.
that. Yeah.
Like my mentor puts it as there's no finish line. So it's kind of, I think maybe that's why people find themselves in burnouts or losing purpose.
Because they're focusing too much on the goal, not on the actual system. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when I mentioned this in previous podcasts, like when I was running, in that process of running, when I focused on the actual process of the 1, 2, 3 and creating that rhythm, the run felt so much easier and smoother.
Yeah.
When I focused on the end goal of I gotta get
Finishing it. Yeah.
finishing it, it felt so much harder. And I think you have to find that harmony in the way you work. Some people might be that really outcome focused and outcome driven, and then some might find success in the process. It's all about finding your own system that works for you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And Roland's one is like reading it out loud.
Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly.
just making it, I have a list that I have to take or else I just feel crap, man. And I feel like if we just do it automatically, not even think about it, just have something that you're looking at, and then that's the goal for today.
Yeah.
Just attack that like with a stoic mindset of like, I'm gonna get your tick today, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. And just make it automatic. Like, yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah. For me, I was never really into books just because of that. Like, high school and stuff. It's always been like, you got to read this book. I was like, oh man.
Books are powerful,
Yeah,
man.
books are powerful. Yeah.
There's actually like golden nuggets in there that you can't find in other media.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like it can be summarized on YouTube and stuff, but like if you read a book, you like really understand it more because they're giving like stories from different angles, and you're like, oh yeah, that works that way.
100%. Yeah.
Passing
that's
on
why,
game.
Yeah. Like that's why I use the other medium like Jasper, like all these audiobooks that I can listen to, because I can listen to like for
me,
ages, but not like stay focused on
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it works for your audiobooks.
Audiobooks is like
yeah.
for me. Yeah. I can
Fair.
listen to it forever.
Oh yeah,
During the day and just like listening to it.
That's it, man. That's it.
technology, man. That's
Yeah.
it.
It's crazy, man.
You can access it.
Are we moving into technology?
Social media.
Up to you guys. Do you guys want to stay in this habit topic or
I
technology?
think the habit topics are good because
We'll
maybe
stay there then.
people, people who listen to this can potentially find ways that can help them, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of that trial and error. So I had to find what works for me through trial and error. You guys had to find what works for you through trial and error. But also I want to come back to this thing, questions. Like you say you guys read books multiple times.
I only started recently, actually.
Okay, yeah,
that was
yeah.
my first one that I finished. I actually got into it because this guy showed me a YouTube video of this 21 years old who's like a millionaire, like multi-millionaire. And I was reading what he was doing when he was like 14. And apparently he was just like reading books.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit, reading books is powerful stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, it's how you use the power with those books. Everyone could
Exactly.
read books and
There's
have
levels
lots
to
of
it.
knowledge, but then what
It's
you doing
actually applying it.
Yeah, it's about applying
But like
it.
knowledge is power.
knowledge has the potential to be power.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, there's so much tools we have nowadays, right? Like we have podcasts, we have books, there's so much knowledge everywhere. It's just about finding where to find it,
Yeah.
But yeah, what I'm going to ask is like, when you read a book multiple times, do you find that you find new information that you didn't really find the first
Straight up,
read-through?
man. Straight up. So much golden nuggets.
That's it, man. So what have been, you say there's a lot of golden, what have been some key learnings that you've had with the book?
With habits, like some of the stuff that it spoke about, like just reaffirmed what I've already known or like what my habit is. But some of the things are just like mind-blowing. Like, for example, he was talking about like, do you know the term immediate return environment and prolonged return environment? It talks about that stuff. Basically, in our society here, right? I'll start with the first one, the immediate return environment. So basically, I got this from the book Atomic Habits. So basically, it talks about how like animals in the Sahara, like lions and zebras and stuff, every action that they do gives a result straight away. For example, if they don't eat, they'll starve to death. If they can't find a place to sleep, then they'll die. So it's immediate return environment. So what action they do has a result straight away. And for us in this society today, we live in a prolonged return environment. For example, if we work today, we're not going to get the money until 2 weeks later, right? Or if we go to the gym today, like if you're just starting, you won't see the result until 2 years later. The thing is, with our brains, back to when our ancestors were hunter-gatherers, they had the immediate return environment where if they don't hunt food, they'll die. So basically our brains are still similar to our hunter-gatherers, and we're actually hardwired for immediate return environment. That's why a lot of like addictions are easy to get into. For example, like smoking or porn and stuff, like those are all immediate return rewards. You know what I mean?
So it's like very primitive thinking.
Yeah.
The way,
Basically, our brain, like we're more advanced now, but our brain is still kind of hardwired the same thing. And what people have found is a lot of the immediate return stuff that we do is actually bad for you. For example, why would a smoker smoke every day if they know they're going to get lung cancer 10 years time? It's because of the immediate stress relief that gives them.
Yeah.
So a lot of what some study found is that, so a lot of long, immediate return
So kind of
habits,
like instant gratification.
instant gratification is generally bad for us.
Yeah.
Whereas if we look more into the future, that's when we get the best rewards. For example, going to the gym every day, because in 2 years' time, you're gonna be fit. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Long-term thinking.
Long-term thinking, basically.
gratification.
And everyone knows that, you know what I mean? Like everyone knows that, if we look into long-term, it's better for us. Like if we save up or, you know what I mean? Instead of like getting this new shoes straight away every day or like buying clothes every day.
So how come do you think people always resort to instant gratification?
Because of how our brain is still hardwired for that immediate return. Similar to how our ancestors were back when they were hunter-gatherers.
So what are ways to kind of prevent that from happening?
Oh yeah, this talks about it. It's basically every good habit, put like a little reward to it, even if it's bad. There's actually an interesting story that they told about where this guy had like a jar of pins, like full, and then he had another jar which is empty. And he's a salesman, and whenever he would make a sales call, he would put like one pin every time he does it. And then he can actually visualize how much he's done over the course of the day.
Yeah.
So little stuff like that, like reward, I guess, that habit that doesn't seem like it's rewarding at the time.
Yeah.
But that little thing, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know the Atomic Habits comes with some worksheets. Do you use that?
No, I haven't. I don't have time, but like I always read back into like stuff.
Yeah.
What are the worksheets?
So it's the one
It's got like a
the one I printed out was like a habit tracker. So it's like a grid, and it'll have like a title and then like boxes. So it'll have the years, the months, and pretty much and the days, and then you just cross off depending on what your habit, and you can visualize how consistent you've been and how inconsistent you've been, and it'll show you where you need to put improvements on, where you want to put more time in. I was doing it for a while, but like I think that I had so much list of habits that I was like, oh man, did I do this today? But I guess the three main ones was like working out, like doing work,
Mhm.
and if you cross that out, you'll see like a whole like all these crosses, and it feels good. It's like, oh man, I accomplished a lot this week. You know.
The book Atomic Habits talks about like the behaviors or habits that you do throughout the day, and then you can put in what's a negative habit or a positive habit. Like you make a list of it, and you try and get rid of the negative habit as if you can, and then you'll have more time for your positive habits that you can do.
Yeah.
I used to do something similar to that. That just having that list of these are the things I need to do, like the habits that I need to cross off. And I did eventually get to that point where I'm just like, oh, it's so like, oh, did I do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I ended up just breaking it down. Okay, these are the main ones that I need to do. And hopefully these become, I do it so often that it just becomes a habit. I don't even have to even think about it. And then I can go, okay, these are the new ones that I have to start developing.
Yeah.
So I think that could be
That.
With the bad habits as well, it talks about how with bad habits you want to add as much friction as you can with it, and with the good habits, add as much,
Make it
lessen the friction.
Yeah, make it as easy as possible to do
things that are good for you. For example, it talks about like going gym again. Sorry. It talks about how if you're going to the gym before you go to work, you want to choose a gym that's like on the way because you know it's already there, so there's less friction.
Yeah.
Whereas if you chose like a gym that's like on another way where you have to turn blah 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 to get from the gym to the work, now you're going out of your way, so you're putting more friction on it. So it's about putting less friction on the good habits and less more friction on the bad habits.
Just make it as simple as possible to do
exactly.
the habit.
The habit that you want to do.
But also going back with that worksheet, like Gerald was saying, like he had so many habits and he just decreased it. Doing that worksheet.
Break it down,
Exactly. And it shows like
that's it.
What is my priorities for myself.
Exactly.
And you just realize I don't really need to do this habit. I just cross it off.
And you put friction on it. Exactly.
It's just simplifying your life, man.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
just removing the unnecessary trash
Necessary.
and putting focus on what's important.
Yes. We don't get our time back, man.
Exactly.
It's like the currency of life, but you don't get it back.
Exactly.
Time is very precious. Make use of it.
Exactly. Make use of it, right? So what habits have you guys developed ever since that have helped you daily?
We started the Wim Hof again. That's one. Trying to get into books. Another one for me. Pretty sure there's heaps more good habits that I haven't heard about that might be good to get into.
The reading, meditation, just like, and I'm trying to just complete the checklist, man. Every single day. By the time I wake up, that's what my focus is on. Because like I feel like if I don't do them as soon as I can, it's just gonna sit in my mind, and I won't have freedom to just be like be a person, you know. Because it's just gonna be in the back of my mind, like. But yeah, I do slip up a lot, like as well. So I'm still working on that. I'm not saying like I do it perfectly.
No one does it perfectly, man.
No. There's always something to work on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A good book with task management and like checklists is Eat That Frog.
Oh yeah.
It's really focusing on how can you do all these tasks and really doing the big tasks first, but also breaking it down. You don't eat an elephant in one bite. You take little chunks of it, right? So it's really just doing those managements and making it manageable.
So this comes down to the thing again with the habits. Doing it 1% at a time. So it talks about the story of like the British cycling team who never won anything. And then eventually they started tweaking little things here and there. So 1%, one at a time. And over the years, they just came out and became champions because of that little 1%.
Small tweaks.
Small tweaks. That's what matters. And it also talks about how like, you know, if you're in a flight, and you change a little bit of degree in the flight or where the nose is heading, you actually end up in 2 different places. So that's about like the 1%, like little 1% every day make a big difference eventually.
It's pretty much the compounding.
Yeah.
So that's another good book I'd recommend. The Compound Effect talks about.
Oh, it talks about that stuff.
Talks about, it really focuses on the idea of doing those small things, and eventually it'll become something huge, right? It's delaying the gratification of things, right? So it's not an easy thing to do.
It's just showing up every day, doing that 1%.
Of course.
Coming back to that, so you're talking about, like, for example, that British, the Olympic team, how they had to make small tweaks. So for ourselves, if we're going to do that, how do we know what those small tweaks that we're going to adjust?
It depends on the type of thing that you want to do. Like there's so many variables. And I don't know, I'm going to use gym again, man. But like with squatting, when I did it last year, I had like so much lower back pain from doing it. And I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. So I went to the physio, did this like physio. I haven't been in physio in years. Did this exercise that he recommended. And I was like, oh, this is so mundane. Like, what am I doing here? But over time, it actually helped. Like my lower back is better. So that's like one of those little tweaks that you do in your behavior, which is like squatting, or like even like getting advice from someone who knows it better than you, like and even recording it. That's like another tweak. You can do 1%. Like, oh yeah, my squat's a little bit off. I can do a little bit better there. So it's just the little tweaks in that behavior anyway, which is squatting.
I think it's kind of just like what Ed Milet says, doing the one more as well. If you can do a bit more, like if you can take another rep, do it. Also, I'd put this in as an example, like people who want to be able to communicate with people, you don't just start telling them to, hey, just talk to this person. You start by, putting them in the environment. Have you just have a look, and that's it. That's your goal for today. Next day,
going back to that talk of the environment really matters in forming a habit. There was a story in that book where it talks about how like these parents had like kids who they wanted to be like grandmasters in chess. So what they did was they filled up the whole house space with like books of chess, chessboards, blah blah blah. So that was their environment. They just played chess, tried to be better than each other in chess. And guess what? They ended up becoming grandmasters. So environment really matters. Like this stuff, man. Look at it. Like with your business.
This makes you feel like,
exactly.
This is my job, right?
This first stuff. Like,
you can't help but do the things that you need to do.
It's all about the environment. And this is what motivates you.
It's a part of it. Like, as you said, it's multiple factors in any type of success. Yes,
definitely.
And there's no really a blueprint. There's only potential guides for it. But you choose your own path, right? But I think another book would the 1%. I think it's called The 1% Rule. That's another good book that would probably talk more about that. But what other books do you think would interest you? So,
well, I'm still trying to concentrate on 12 Rules for Life.
So that's like a really philosophical book.
On how to live your life, basically, on these 12 rules. And it all makes sense. Like I watched the summary of it and I'm like, it's so true. It's just like reading the book itself. Like it gives you stories and it like hits you from different angles.
For sure.
And you understand, you soak it in more like a sponge.
Yeah, I like it when you read something and just resonates with you.
Oh man. And you feel connected to it, right? And you feel like, oh man, this.
And sometimes it's like, it's like some of the things they talk about is kind of mundane, but it's just about like understanding that even if it's boring, that's what makes a difference. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just put the work in, even if it's shit.
Sure. I think like with another like a life book I've read that I think is really good, more simple than 12 Rules of Life, is The 4 Agreements. So there's 4 agreements, impeccable word. Don't assume. Don't take life too seriously, or don't take things too seriously. And always do your best. 4 things. If you can do these 4 things, you can live like such a good person, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Have some integrity. Don't make.
You can apply that to like whatever your discipline is as well.
Exactly. Exactly right. And anyone I tell this to is like, don't assume I didn't know how to do that. So we all make assumptions, right? We all make judgments. But it's all about having that self-awareness.
To
do it.
Self-awareness is key.
Exactly.
Like everyone can make judgment, and then you can look at what they've said, and you can either take it as a proper constructive criticism, or you're like, oh yeah, it's not. Then you just leave it. It's just an idea.
Usually take anything with a grain of salt, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. So what about you guys? Self-awareness is important, and it's not an easy thing to achieve. Do you feel like you have self-awareness with yourselves?
I watched this video recently. It's very interesting. It's like you should always. It's on TikTok, but it's like it talks about how it's like someone's graduation speech, and he talks about how you should always question your beliefs, always question it, and always question your behavior.
I think
something like that. I'm like, wow, that's actually an interesting way to look at yourself. Because do you really have self-awareness of yourself? Yeah. Always question it.
Is that the one where he told a story about the goldfish?
I can't remember. I think so.
How there's a fish.
It's a graduation ceremony speech, yeah?
And then like he talks about this fish, and he goes to the other fish like, how's the water or something? It's like, what's water? You know, it's like you don't realize what your environment is, trying to reframe where you are in life, type of thing, right? But yeah, so sorry, go on.
Oh, so what would that look like? Like if you could question yourself. So that's kind of,
it's like,
who am I?
Maybe you do like a behavior and you're like, oh, was that the right thing to do or something? Actually, I don't know.
Now, there was another book I recently read. It's called Think Again. Like this one talks about reframing everything that you consume. And he talks about this study. I forgot what it's called, but pretty much when you think you know something or you are something, you really aren't. It's kind of like this duality in life, right? Like there's always this positive, negative thing. And it's just crazy when you believe that I am this.
You guys want to know something interesting about the brain?
What's interesting about the brain?
Do you guys watch CPEF Grey or something on YouTube? No. Basically, it talks about how we have two brains. Ooh. This is so interesting, this stuff. CGF Grey or something, that's the YouTube channel. I'll link you guys if you guys are interested. I'm gonna get water. You guys want to have water break before I get into this?
I'll get you guys water. Keep going.
Cheers. I'll wait for Jasper.
Wait
I'll wait for Jasper.
Oh yeah, it's still recording.
Sick.
So I was just saying, like, so what? When I was listening to this podcast, we were talking about how you have like two brains. If you actually were to talk to yourself when you're by yourself alone, and you go, you ask yourself a question, I don't know, like, why am I like this or something like that, and then you kind of have your own response in your own head. Like, so it's interesting. That's why when you said that, I was like, oh, is that other brain like talking to yourself?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's like what I've been practicing that helped me. So apart from the high five habit that I do daily, and I used to, when I get a chance, is to have a self-reflection. Well, I think David Goggins calls it the accountability mirror. And really just, this is what I talked about, having a relationship with yourself is to sit in front of a mirror and just talk to yourself. Have that like
self-talk.
Deep introspection.
Yeah.
Not really self-talk. Self-talk is, I would say, is different.
Oh yeah.
This is more of a check-in with who you are. I would say self-talk is the little voices in your head.
Okay.
This is more of a self-analysis.
All right.
Just you.
Yeah.
Just you. Because how often we always focus on the relationship externally with others. How often do we focus on the relationship with ourselves? So pretty much I on my mirror, I have like prompts on my mirror that help me ask myself and find some reflection. So it's kind of like, how are you feeling today? Or what do you want to change? What do you do? What's the outcome if you don't change? Or what are you scared of? Stuff like that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it has personally helped me to love more who I am, because then I'm letting all those inner thoughts out into the world, and I'm finding it myself.
Yeah,
and it's also good to have like a coach or someone to be accountable to, check into, and like, hey, I'm having these conversations. Can I get your perspective on it? And stuff like that, just helping each other as well, right?
Definitely.
But yeah, let's go back to that. Two brains, I forgot. Just segueing into a different topic.
All right. So basically, this video talks about, and this is real scientific.
Right.
Basically, back in the 1950s, they would do a surgery to treat seizures in people, where they would cut like so this is your brain, yeah, the right hemisphere, left hemisphere. There's a connection between them called the corpus callosum, and back in the days they would cut it in half to stop the seizures. That was the surgery back in the days. Anyway, with these patients who would get that cut in the middle, they would act like they have two people inside them. For example, they would choose, the video goes more in depth in this, but basically you can choose like you're going out, and you're choosing clothes. You can choose clothes with your right hand, and your left hand might choose something else.
That's crazy.
And this is legit scientific.
Yeah.
So it talks about how like, is there a second consciousness in our brain, in our head?
Would that be
'Cause-
like bipolar disorder?
Who knows?
No, I want the pants. No, I want the skirt.
Yeah. And they don't. It's frustrating for them, but they can't understand why it's happening. It talks about it. It's so interesting.
Is there a video, Jess?
There's a video. I don't want to pull up the video or anything. Cause,
Yeah.
Copyright.
Yeah, copyright.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you want to check this Two Brains video, just search up CGP Grey Two Brains. So
Yeah.
it's CGPGREY Two Brains. But yeah, like, that's interesting stuff. I say I always look into this stuff, but then
I look into that stuff a lot, man. I know I know it's like, I don't know, financially useless, but like knowledge is like good.
yeah, knowledge is good.
Yeah.
You can have these
Like
interesting discussions.
it's always good to learn stuff.
That's
Like learn a different perspective.
Yeah.
Just take as much knowledge as you can.
Oh yeah, this video talks about how like, the language center of our brain is on our left side. And if the brain's both connected, through that corpus callosum, they communicate with each other. But once it's cut, it's like, so it talks about how like, is our left brain our main brain? Like, is this me? Is this the left brain speaking to you right now? Because it's the one that has the language center, and the right brain just has to sit back and listen,
right.
basically.
If you
How interesting is that, man? It's like, whoa, is this legit? But like, watch the video and you're like,
Yeah.
bruh. Bruh. Yeah, exactly.
have you heard that question like, oh, where do you start?
What is that?
Like, does it? Are you like your brain like with
What is like
the
the chicken
eyes
and
like
the egg type of thing?
yeah?
Yes.
Oh, that
Well,
It's a
apparently,
tooth, yeah.
well,
It's my brain. It's fried.
well, apparently, the front of your brain is where your consciousness is. So that this is you right here.
The third eye.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god. I feel like I could get to really cool thoughts right
Start
now.
having an existential crisis.
Oh my god, am I real? Who am I? What am I doing with my life?
Oh, don't even get me into that, man.
Let's get into it.
Simulations.
Oh my god, fuck.
Let's go. I'm interested. Let's go.
This is so interesting. I can't fully remember the arguments with simulation, but
So you think, are we in a simulation first off? Do you think we're in a simulation?
who knows, man? You can't prove it.
What if you
Or
can?
you can't disprove it as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the two.
There's
you can't.
there's the three arguments to why we're in a simulation. And apparently, if they're correct, that means we're 99% in a simulation. And Elon Musk, like, believes this. This is interesting. Yeah, very
I
interesting
think I've
stuff.
seen that test. I'm just like, bro, like,
It's like,
it's not doing
do you want to look it up, bro?
know,
Like the
it's-
three,
Are we in a simulation? What's it
like
called?
the three questions for the three arguments for simulation. Read it to me, man, and tell me what you guys think.
Okay.
Let's
As
see
you can see,
this.
the podcast is taking a
It's like
180.
180. What's going on?
What's it called? The simulation argument or the advantages and disadvantages of simulation?
I think it's the three argument for simulation.
Well, I'm on DuckDuckGo. I'm not on Google. So
Oh, let me.
that's all right.
Alright.
I'm going
So,
Google.
so
Wait,
just
let me-
imagine if we were in a simulation. How does that change anything?
It doesn't. It doesn't change anything. You
So
just,
I feel like
it's just like a knowledge that's just like
Yeah.
like a funny
So it can't be Neo.
Yeah.
Let's break out of this matrix. I know everything.
Oh my god, bro! That's Matrix? Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen that movie.
What?
Oh,
But every time we watch it, me and my missus, I just fall asleep. And then, let's try again next week. Halfway through, fall asleep again. I'm like, fuck! I really need to watch the show.
Okay, so
This movie.
are we living in a computer simulation?
the answer is it
Can
doesn't
you
matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But
Who
let's
cares?
just for our entertainment, the fraction of human level civilizations that reach a post-human stage is very close to zero. The fraction of post-human civilizations that are interested in running ancestor simulations is very close to zero. The fraction of all people with our kind of experience that are living in a simulation is very close to 1. Where are these numbers coming from? What?
Oh.
Maybe we are in a simulation.
You'll turn off.
Alright, man, like, this is...
Is it too deep? Should we change topics?
Let's change topics. I think it's too deep. But what would you do if you knew we were in a simulation?
Nothing, man. You just keep living your life.
Why would you keep living your life then? If you knew it was just
nothing.
A simulation. What if life outside of the simulation is... You'll
the
find
true
out
life.
when you...
It's like Matrix.
I think
shit.
you'll probably go crazy just trying to find the reality of things.
Exactly.
Like,
well, that's how schizophrenia happens, right? So like, it's best to just leave it.
Maybe.
And don't get too deep into it. Like,
Yeah.
I told my friend this, like, bro, like, what's the purpose of you diving into this as well? Yeah.
Fair enough. That's true.
So it's kind of like...
It's just like an interesting thought.
It's an interesting thought.
That's all it is to me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then
For
I just
sure.
move on.
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was at the point. I'm pretty sure we all had some sort of phase where we wanted to, figure out life, and
I still am, man. I still am trying to figure out life.
we're all trying to figure out life, right? But like completely understand it. I think we've all had a phase or a
Definitely, man.
or adventure to those waters, into the abyss.
Definitely, man.
But yeah, you can definitely see how you can lose yourself through that.
Of course. So it's not too good to concentrate too much into this. Yeah.
Unless you're like a PhD. And
unless it pays you.
Yeah,
exactly.
unless it pays you, right?
Then it's worth talking about. Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah. So that's why for me, like, I try to use my the information I get. That's useful.
I guess I'm starting to concentrate now on that now as well.
Because we all have use hard drive, man.
Yeah. Use an information that's more useful for you, that will
Exactly.
actually benefit you.
Exactly.
That's true. Very true.
Oh my god. Take a deep breath from that. So what we were talking about before we got to simulations and 2 grains.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. What has that been like for you guys?
Self-awareness for me is still a practice. Like I feel like I'm more self-aware when I do my job, which is like the things that I need to do for the day. And just through being in the process is like being self-aware. Because like if you just really focus on doing your best in whatever you're doing at the moment, then that's like where inner peace is for me. It's like the process.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
I wonder with that question of because we're always changing, like, the person you are today is going to be different to the person you are like the next year. So there's always that continuous thing of always having to discover yourself. And do you ever really figure yourself out, do you think?
No, really. I feel like you don't.
Maybe you just...
It's an ongoing everyday thing.
Maybe you just find a foundation of what your life could be like, as opposed to... Like for me, it's kind of understanding my values, right? So for me, I kind of live by the 4 agreements I mentioned before, and also coming to focus on listen, understand, accept, love, and be curious. Following these 5 things. That's the basis of what my values are. I haven't figured out myself fully. It's just understanding what is my inner North Star. Where are my foundations? What are my pillars? Right? It's like a house. We have to build our own foundations or it's going to crumble, right? So it's kind of like, what do you guys value for yourself? What are your values, if you know?
My values, bro. For me, my why is just for my family, bro. Like I want them to be free, financially free. Financial freedom is my motivation for the things that I do. Like most of the time, man. Like if it doesn't point me to that direction, I'm not fucking with it. Like
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So how are you trying to achieve that financial freedom for yourself and your family?
Just trying out everything, bro. Like in the pandemic, I actually looked up ways to make money like physically. So like serving people in the community and stuff. and I did like start my own like rubbish removal
Oh, that's sick,
whilst
man.
working my second job, my other job, my main like bread and butter. And then like I tried that, and then I'm trying this YouTube thing out to see where I can find more
to get monetization and stuff.
like where I can get that, and then just focusing on those two things.
Exactly. How's your view count on your YouTube, if you don't mind me asking?
Like I've been slacking, bro. So like it's been like 20 days since I posted.
Oh damn.
Yeah. So, but the views are pretty good because the shorts content is like popping off at the moment.
That's sick. That's sick, man.
How did you even get into like calisthenics?
It was just something like me and him. We've been training forever, like with our other mates, like since high school. We started with like bodybuilding, right? And then I eventually like
we came across this guy called Fitness FAQ on YouTube.
On YouTube,
and it was like really inspiring. So like, oh yeah, this is sick stuff.
And I could relate to it because it was like, you know, what I wanted from my body, which was like mobility, strength. And I didn't want to just like, because when I was doing like bodybuilding, I was stiff all over. I couldn't even scratch my own back ananymore.
That's it, man.
I feel like, what's the point?
That's it, man. Like, I was telling my mate, our mate, pretty much like at the gym, like he just seems so stiff, man. Like he can't reach past his knees and stuff. Like, bro, like you gotta do some yoga there, man. Do some stretches, get your breath work in. You know,
no, definitely.
It's so important, right? Like I'm pretty sure, like we were doing it on Saturday, we were doing like yoga poses. I was trying to teach him stuff. And like you just see people laughing at us. I'm like, bro,
who cares?
Just need this, bro. Like this ain't funny. Like for me, I thought yoga was very feminine. I'm like, bro, you're doing yoga.
I actually got into it like a few years ago. Nah, it's about
you learn to respect it.
It's about flexibility.
Because you can have the biggest, like meanest guy, and then enter a yoga session and they look like, it's like, oh man, you have to train mobility.
Exactly.
Nah, you do. You need mobility.
It's important, man. It's important.
I think
it's part of it.
I think
because if you don't stretch, like you're gonna tear something. You end up in hospital.
For sure. I think when we're younger, you kind of, because you have these superheroes or these cartoons where you see that they're really muscular. So a lot of the stuff you focus on is just aesthetics, and then later on you just realize, you know, you have to have some sort of functionality. Why am I muscular for? Like, you know,
it's a very masculine way of living. You know, that's the standard of what masculinity is, like big, strong, bulky, but you need your flexibility. You need a bit of feminine in you, you know?
Yes, it's about like mixing your feminine and masculine energies.
Exactly. But don't letting that feminine energy take over. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want to, then.
Unless you into that, man.
That's fine. Like, I'm not taking that away from you.
Do what you want to do, man.
Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do, bro.
It's all love.
It's all love. It's all love, man.
Straight up.
We gotta spread more love, man. That's what it is, right?
So how long have you been doing the calisthenics for?
Seriously, like a year, and I started posting 2019, but I've been like serious about it during this year, like start of this year. I was just like, man, let me actually be good at something instead of just wishing I was good at something. 100%. So I was like, man, I couldn't do handstands beforehand. I was stiff. Literally, like, I wish I could have gone back and recorded my progress back then, because like, man, it would shed so much light of how far I've come. Because like, man, I couldn't do anything back then, not even like proper pull up.
But then again, there's like people with like different passions as well. Like he decided to lean towards calisthenics. Like me and my mate decided to lean towards like powerlifting. Like it's all about like different goals and what like suits you personally.
Talking about, you know, your that growth you come, like what were you like 5 years ago, you would say? How much have you grown since then?
I had low self-respect, and basically I wasn't like living the way I wanted to live. So yeah, man, 5 years ago, I was a mess, bro. Just my whole focus was on the wrong thing, like chasing friends, chasing girls, chasing like things that didn't matter at that moment.
That's true.
And then placing my my value on those things. If I didn't have it, I would just feel like crap.
Definitely.
Definitely.
What about your end? What has your growth been like the past 5 years?
Definitely gym.
Gym?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
What else, man? Still working on it. Still working on it. Meditation, work, just building more good habits, I guess,
100%.
in life.
Mm-mm.
Like even the little things that you think are like, yeah.
So, we're all working on our habits.
Yeah.
Where do we want those habits to take us? Where do you visualize those habits to take you guys?
I'm detached from it right now. I just know that something's gonna happen. So I'm just trying my best every day to just like lay a brick, and then see where I can take it.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Do you guys have like cast visions for yourself? Like where do you see yourself in the future, whether it be a year or a few years from now?
I want to make money online, man.
Yeah.
That's where I want my money coming from. So I can just like
That'd be
express
interesting.
fully and just do whatever I
For
want.
sure.
Yeah.
So what
It's the
would
ultimate goal.
what would that life how would you visualize your life if you achieved that financial freedom? Describe it to us, what it would be like.
How it would feel.
Yeah. How would it feel? What do you
Paint that
see?
picture.
Yeah, paint that picture for people. Maybe they might find some inspiration from your dreams, man.
Just having that fuck you money, man.
That's
That's all I can say, right? If I don't want to do anything.
That's it.
Yeah.
What about your end?
For me, man, it's just like being content in life. I think having financial freedom will definitely get me there. But it's like everything multifactorial.
For sure.
I was watching Jordan Peterson, and he talks about how like people shouldn't aim for happiness; they should aim for being content, because you can't be happy all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like life's not about that, but it's just like having a purpose in life.
Exactly.
I think finding that, I guess, like in different ways.
Right.
Like obviously being financially free is one of them, but there's other things as well.
When you say this financially free, it's like a kind of like a buzzword these days, man. What's financially free for you guys?
It's just like, what do you reckon, man?
Enough to like sustain my family's lifestyle without them working. That's what it means. That's what it means to me. Like I don't want excess amount of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think for me it's kind of like just peace of mind.
Yeah.
Like,
Peace of mind, not stressing about like paycheck to paycheck kind of thing.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, man. Is there like, do you see yourself with one specific cash flow, or do you see you have multiple cash flows for that?
But it's all about having multiple income.
Yeah.
That's what everyone talks about, I think. Yeah.
So have you guys like read Robert Kiyosaki talks about the cash flow quadrants?
The Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think he mentions it about the cash flow quadrants.
Is that what
I
the
never
book's
read
called?
that before.
Yeah.
He talks about the four different cash flows that we earn money. Is the E and S quadrant, the left side, which is bucket carrying income.
Okay.
And then the right side is your big business and investments. That's passive income, like pipeline. And he just talks about like potential ways of doing that.
Oh yeah.
And just coming to understand, well, what is my situation right now, and how can I get to that right side of living? You know. But yeah, he's got a pretty good book. Rich Dad Poor Dad is definitely one. Cash flow quadrant. But yeah, freaking hell, like. We're getting into finance. I'm going to count this now, guys.
Investment portfolio.
How's your investment portfolio? Like, how's your Bitcoin and NFT accounts? Oh, God. Oh, shit. I don't think we're that knowledgeable. For me personally, I'm not knowledgeable.
I kind of want to be low key on that, to be honest, personally.
That's it, man.
Don't want to flex. Yeah.
What's no?
Don't want to flex.
Don't want to flex.
I don't want to say anything.
A couple $100,000.
No. Not like that.
No, just a couple million.
No way. I'm not that financially free, man.
Yeah, man. That's crazy how we have so many platforms now just to create stuff for us, right?
What are you guys focusing on uploading more? Like is it Spotify for you guys at the moment?
For the podcast and things like that. We're just trying to
No, I mean, sorry. Like, what's your priority? Like,
Content-wise?
social media platform at the moment.
Like, we really want to get more of the podcast out and focusing on message-driven content, value-driven content. I think that's the next part. Like, we were just talking about how maybe there's a point where we don't focus so much on the products, but actually focus on creating those communities and the tools that people can use to help them in whatever way we can, right? And just having a platform for that to happen, right? And just working together, rising together pretty much, and in any way we can.
Yeah, so when we talk about like platforms and stuff, it's pretty much just trying to find any type of platform. So whether it be Spotify, YouTube, or just get that news, and like the products pretty much become just like a byproduct of what we're trying to do. We're trying to send that message of mental awareness. How can people become better? Just trying to build that community as well of people that are like-minded to us as well. So that's a thing we're trying to focus. No, that's it. Yeah.
Speaking about like like health and mental awareness, like did you guys go through any struggles during the lockdowns or anything like that?
Definitely, man. I think everyone did. A lot of people did.
Mental struggles.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say so for myself. It was more like I had anxiety from posting stuff.
Right.
That was more like my mental struggle. Like, because during the lockdown, I was like making content, right? And then just having like self-doubt, like whether I should post this or not. Type stuff. And I just have to ignore it now.
Definitely.
Yeah, how is it like that actually? Because obviously on like YouTube and stuff, and do you have anybody that's like, do you get affected by comments or anything like that? Or
it's more like I get affected by like the anxiety of I gotta do something, and then looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's not good enough for me.
Wanting it to be perfect.
Instead of just putting it out. Like,
exactly. Look, we talked about that when our mate Josh, like being in the creative industry, like how do you know when something's finished? How do you know when an art piece is really done? Because there's always something we could add, right? There's always something we can do better. It's kind of just being like, I think that's it. I'm not going to touch it anymore. I'm just going to leave it be, type of thing. And it goes with content as well. Like whenever we post content, like, oh man, I should have changed this. Oh, I should have done that. But then at the end of the day, it's just kind of like, it's already out there. You just got to
move on to the next.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can be working on something for so long where you could have started working on something else.
That's the thing. You shouldn't be a perfectionist.
Yeah.
How do you guys deal with the negative comments? If ever you get? Because I feel like no one would ever leave a negative comment in your page.
No, we had. Yeah, and we just like discussed it. I was like, whatever. Like we already know ourselves that what we're doing is got a bigger purpose than this guy that's like hating on us for no reason.
Exactly. It's gonna be fun and like really focus on the good that happened. Right?
Like if it's not constructive criticism, there's no point of it. Like paying attention to it.
Exactly right.
Just move on. Yeah. Exactly.
Trying to shut out that noise, right?
Yeah. It's all white noise. Exactly.
It's not easy to shut out the noise too, though.
It's not. Yeah.
Sometimes I was just like, hey, like
that's the challenge. Yeah.
And that's where self-talk comes in. You gotta build that positive mental attitude, and really. Well, for me, I don't like to ignore any type of feelings. It's kind of, for me, I'd like to acknowledge it and see where it's coming from. Try to dig deep and find what is the reason of this feeling. And it's hard sometimes, because sometimes you might not know, or sometimes you just don't want to know what the truthful answer is. So, it's not bad. Like,
how long is it usually?
Yeah, how long do you guys usually record your podcast?
Sometimes I do 2.5. 1 hour 30. Yesterday's one was an hour and 20, I think.
An hour 20.
Yeah.
But
we just let it.
We just let it go, man.
We don't have like a set time.
Yeah.
What were people talking about yesterday?
Oh man.
What was the discussion?
Generational trauma. Self-discovery.
Okay.
A little bit of masculinity, not too much of it.
Vulnerability.
Ooh.
Yeah, vulnerability was a big one.
Oh, that's a good one to talk about.
Yeah.
What do you guys reckon about vulnerability, man? Like,
what do you guys reckon?
Yeah, what do you guys reckon?
I keep it low key, man.
You keep it low key.
Vulnerability.
Okay.
In terms of what?
Why do you feel like
Just exposing yourself, like
and
having-
like this, like in a podcast, like kind of thing.
Well, it could be amongst friends and stuff like that too. Just being like vulnerable with
Like stepping out of your comfort
comfort
zone.
zone? Pretty much like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I think it's-
personally, yeah, I would do it, but not online.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
I think it's vulnerability is a hard one for people to open up to, because it opens you up to your weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
And everything about you. And yeah, I guess
It's good for connecting people though.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people go through like a lot of dark stuff, and so there's obviously even if they're going through those dark moments, other people don't really talk about it. So when you kind of open up about it, they can relate to you and be like, oh yeah, no, I went through that as well, man. Like, you know, and then you can have that open discussion about it. So, yeah.
I like to say it gives people an opportunity to grow as well. Like, I know we were talking about it yesterday, how you could burden someone with that information, but if you kind of reframe it the other ways, it gives me an opportunity to grow from this. You know, what if someone else further down the track has this same situation? They come to me. How would I, you know, kind of achieve? Like, how would I navigate those waters as opposed to kind of just like, I'm just gonna, I don't know what to do. I'll ignore it, or I'll just step away. But at the same time, we're all different people, right? We have all our own different goals, our own different directions we want to go to.
Yeah.
Honesty is always cool.
Honesty's like
Honestly, yeah. 100%.
Gotta have honesty, man.
Yeah.
Honest,
The thing with honesty, is if you lie, you're basically lying to yourself as well, because you know you're not speaking the truth.
Exactly.
And if you betray yourself, you're not a proper person.
And honestly, like lying takes so much energy as well. Like,
does.
trying to keep that lie.
And the behavior as well, like hand gestures and all that. It's too much. So just try to be a good person and be honest, I guess.
Yeah. Just live an honest life, man.
Yeah. Like we can't be perfect, you know. We make mistakes, blah blah blah. But
100%.
yeah,
That's it, man.
just be honest, I guess.
Because we're good people, guys. Like,
Well, you can try.
you can try to be good people.
Yeah, but life's not perfect. There's always some.
It's a roller coaster, man.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, ebbs and flows. We go through our peaks and valleys.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what matters is like rising from it
Rising.
eventually. Yeah,
Exactly. Rising above, rising together.
yeah.
Okiru.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. Oh man.
Sick, man.
Yeah.
I love this.
This is pretty good.
This is interesting,
man.
man.
This is pretty fun, man.
This is so good.
How's your experiences being in your first podcast?
Bro, it was nerve-wracking, man.
Oh, you did well, man.
Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
thanks,
did really
man.
Yeah, both of you.
I'd love to do more of these.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And these mics are sick. What the hell? This whole thing is sick.
What makes you nervous about being on a podcast?
It's just like I've never recorded myself talking like this with like a group with like mics. Like
yeah.
it's kind of like kicking back and like, you know, hanging out. But then at the same time you got all this and like camera and like lights.
the
and shit. It's
equipment
different.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Different environment.
Yeah, different environment.
Different
That's what made
setting.
it a bit nerve-wracking, but it's, yeah.
Are you someone who's like really good at public speaking or
Not
a
really,
speaker?
man. I have like stage fright.
Oh damn! Hey, you did it right in the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Well,
good.
there's no audience. It's just like a camera.
It's just
That's
us,
the
man.
difference. Yeah.
That's
I
crazy
think
because that's actually different to a lot of people because I'm a videographer, right?
Yeah.
And there's people that are really used to speaking in front of the stage and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But when they go in front of the camera, they start
It's
stuttering.
probably because of the thought that like
Yeah, it's
probably because of the thought of like, oh yeah, there's a potential that millions of people might see this and judge me online and I don't know them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're on the stage, you're not gonna hear people judge you. You just look at them. Like it's different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, yeah, I think about, oh, what if this person thinks I'm judging?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's such a strange
It's all about
thing, though.
perspective.
Because
Yeah.
you can have like a million eyes looking at, not a million, 1,000 eyes just looking at you, you know. But you're alone. Oh, not alone, but like you have like just a camera, and you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I think you just want it to be perfect as well. Like
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
every single word needs to be perfect. and everything.
That's the thing. Don't be a perfectionist, man.
I think like if we listen to our past podcast, like you could see the difference from the very first one to where we are now.
for sure.
It's just like making those 1% changes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just doing it
tweak
consistently.
things. Yeah, consistently. Yeah,
As much as possible.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
yeah,
All
man.
right, man. What about you, Roland? What was your experience like
Not gonna lie, man. What was the question?
What was your experience like being on your first podcast?
Oh yeah.
Is this your first podcast? Or
This is the first podcast, man. Yeah.
So good, bro.
It was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you do it again?
I would do it again.
Yeah. Let's do it again. Maybe, you know.
You guys only have 4 mics?
Yeah.
Ah, all right.
We can get more.
We can get more. We can get more. I think like once we get to like 5-6 people, it gets hard to do a real big discussion. I think the first time we did
I've
a
seen
podcast.
like podcasts like where there's like fucking 20 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look, what the hell?
Yeah. It can work. It can
Yeah.
work. But like for us, I think we like the more intimate discussions.
Nah, this is good. Good stuff. Yeah.
So we get more perspective, like a bit more perspectives as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like 20 people, you probably need like someone moderating it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Whereas
Yeah.
this, we can
It's just like
jump
do our
in
thing.
and
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Yeah.
So it's good.
Otherwise, everyone would be like, blah, 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 and it's just like chatter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that all goes for like 10 hours or something like
Yeah.
that. You want to hear everyone's perspective.
Does that happen? Like 10 hours? That'd be like
10-hour podcast.
10-hour podcast.
I wonder what the longest podcast episode
Yeah,
is.
let's look it up, man.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan's
It does it for hours.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Longest podcast.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
day.
Higher.
What?
Higher than 20 hours.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What is it, man?
Higher than 30.
Oh,
1 week.
36 hours.
damn.
36-hour podcast.
How many
What is this?
people?
I don't know. It's just the longest podcast in the world. A daily technology,
So 1.5.
business, and comedy podcast.
My
Wow.
goodness.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We should have taken like shit breaks for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, man.
Well,
They wouldn't have slept though. They'd be fucking knackered by the end of it.
Unless they just keep switching.
Mm.
But don't worry, guys. We're not going to do a 36-hour long. Oh, man. All right, should we wrap this baby up?
Let's wrap
All
this
right,
up.
Let's wrap it
man.
up, man.
So before we end the podcast, we'd like to ask you guys 3 questions.
Oh yeah.
1, what are you grateful for? 2, what have you realized? And 3, what's a question you want to ask yourself or to the viewers?
You wanna go first?
All right.
Please.
What I'm grateful for? Just being, having another chance to get things right, man.
Yeah,
Like just waking up and having the ability to do things that I want to do.
that's it.
That's what I'm grateful for. Family, friends, opportunities.
Yeah.
What's the second question?
What have you realized?
What have I realized?
Yeah. Like, what's a realization?
Just stay chill.
Stay chill.
Yeah.
Stay chill,
Stay
man.
chill. Don't overthink.
That's it, bro.
Realized in this podcast?
Just
like in general?
In general.
In general,
whatever.
yeah.
What's your most recent realization, if
okay.
you want?
Yeah.
And the
And last
third-
question. What's a question you want to ask yourself or
Look,
the listeners or viewers?
what question do I want to ask myself? Do I want to smoke some more today?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
That's a good question.
That's my question.
What about you, Aaron?
For me, grateful for being in this podcast, man. Right now. Yeah.
We're blessed to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. This is interesting as.
It was fun, man. It's fun.
This is so good.
Love talking.
What was the second question?
What have you realized?
Realized there's a lot of knowledge that I don't know that I need to know.
Why do you
As-
need to know?
I don't know. It's just like the truth sets you free.
Yeah. But the truth can also
Drive you crazy.
Yeah.
yeah. Just
It's just
finding
it's
harmony.
just how you take it.
Yeah, 100%.
Ignorance is bliss, but it's true. Ignorance is bliss. I can go deep, but nah. Next time.
Please go deep.
We have time. We do? Now I'll wrap it up. We'll talk about it next time. Next episode. Yeah, and just having a purpose in life, I guess. Yeah. Instead of concentrating on happiness.
That's it, man. That's it.
There's a lot that I've realized recently, but that's what I can think so far.
Do you write these down or do you?
I should start journaling.
Yeah.
That's actually a good habit. I saw you doing it. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Journaling's
and-
good.
and
You
it's
have
a-
your phone as well, man.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Put notes in.
Yeah. What's the third question?
Third question is, what is a question when you want to ask yourself or the viewers?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard question to ask. We like to keep you on your feet, man.
Damn.
On your toes.
This is intense. Now, what question do I want to ask myself? I don't know. That's very difficult.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Maybe work. How can I seek more knowledge? That was like Wes's one, right? Where can I seek more knowledge? How can I seek more knowledge?
Wim's one.
Yeah.
was,
No, actually, I have one.
I?
How to be more successful in life.
That's a good question.
And like the viewers as well.
Yeah.
How do you guys want to be successful in life?
Exactly.
There's different ways.
And it's
There's
like,
wealth.
what defines your success as
Yeah.
well.
What defines success?
Damn, man. Far out. That was a pretty fun podcast. Like talking about
awesome.
we went on a roller coaster.
Bro, I need to like read more on the simulation before. Because like it's actually interesting, man.
You're gonna bring it back.
Like I'm gonna bring it back in next time.
Oh, please do.
When I actually understand it more.
When you bring it back, I want to see documents. I want to see pages and pages of research. So, you know, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, man. Next time.
Next time.
Let's do it.
Anyway, thank you guys for jumping on. We really appreciate you coming to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
And,
Thanks.
you know,
Thanks,
to all
boys.
the viewers, always stay safe, always take care, and always get up.
Get up.
Peace.
Later.
Get up.